to have our guest on tonight. You know him from so many different films, Bill Oberst Jr. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Good, man, and thanks for having me because you guys have a bigger audience than like all of my movies put together.
Oh, I wish that was true. It's only because I have great co-hosts such as Chris and HorrO and Muse, who's normally on with us, but she couldn't make it tonight. She just wanted to say that she is a huge fan. She was so upset that she couldn't make it tonight. It's like the first show that she's missed, and she was so upset about it. But the show must go on, as you know, right?
Really nice. I like your goats.
Well, yeah, we're trying to be the GOAT, the greatest of all time, but we have a lot of work to do. Listen, man, like I said before we got on the call, I am just a huge fan of your work. I mean, you are in so many different roles, and the roles that you play. I can't wait to get into it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it on over to Chris to start off first to ask a couple questions, and then we're going to jump right into HorrO. Then I'll wrap it up. But thank you so much, Bill, for hanging out with us tonight. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Bill, it's a real pleasure to be with you and a great honor. Thank you so much for being with us. Um, I saw maybe a year ago Ditch Day Massacre, and today, or 2 days ago, I watched Painkiller, and I love Painkiller. I love the fact that the death count was in the several hundred. And when I was watching this film, I'm thinking this is the death wish of the 21st century. Back in the early 70s, the inner cities, the crime's starting to get out of control. And 35, 40 years later, there is also stuff getting out of control. We could go on and on about the pharmaceutical companies, but certainly the opioid crisis, which mysteriously just disappears. Although my friends in the local police said it hasn't disappeared. If anything, it got worse. I don't know if the goal was to make a death wish of the 21st century, but certainly this movie, the protagonist, Bill Johnson, is something wrong with me that I liked him and I was cheering for him? Does that make me a bad person or what? How do you see Bill Johnson?
Well, this is his second killing spree, so you're like in a double killer because in Stress to Kill, which was really a prequel to this, although you don't have to have seen it, but it's the same characters. He starts killing people because his blood pressure is too high, and the doctor says, you got to relieve stress. Well, what stresses him are people.
Yeah.
So anybody who's irritating him, he just kills. In fact, he has his wife killed, his daughter's mother. Well, he makes a deal with his best friend that they're each going to kill each other's annoying wives.
Oh,
and so they do. So
Hitchcock-y.
this is his second killing spree. I don't know how many years he was clean before he started on it again. So if you know that, it makes it even more problematic that you're cheering for him.
Yeah. I'm kind of a weird person, and it doesn't surprise me that I'm cheering for him. I can't wait to see him in his third movie, which is hinted at. But that this was a terrific movie. It got into a subject that should still be in the headlines, but isn't. And maybe the timing of this movie is fortuitous because the opioid thing is going to kill a lot more people than terrorists are. It's going to kill a lot more people than COVID is. It's going to kill a lot more people than drunk driving. And it's kind of very, very frustrating that it has just mysteriously disappeared from the headlines. And I don't know if that's me being a conspiracy theorist with politicians getting in bed with the pharmaceutical industry. But I like the boldness of the movie and bringing that back out and sparing nobody from any kind of blame at all.
I appreciate that. I liked it too, because I have revenge fantasies myself. Like when somebody cuts me off in traffic, I imagine the car exploding in flames. And I don't think I want the car to explode in flames, but at that moment, it would be okay.
Yeah.
So, like the fact that we can cheer for somebody who's just like killing people who are only peripherally involved. Really, I mean, hell, it's terrorism, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's killing pharmaceutical company people who never knew his daughter.
Right.
He's after a doctor who never met his daughter.
Right.
He just picks representative people for the thing he's pissed about. We shouldn't be cheering for him, but I was too. Mark Savage, our director, he's very subversive that way. His stuff was banned in Australia.
Oh, that's cool.
He's done these really extreme cult things. And Mark would really like the fact that he was making us cheer for somebody who was morally bad. He loves twisting the moral screws that way.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite actors, I'm a big made for sci-fi TV fan. And I remember, I'm a lot older than my co-host, but I remember Eddie and the Cruisers when it came out. I remember Blood Rain 3, The Third Reich, where he played this evil Nazi guy. But Michael Pare, one of my favorite actors. I hope he's a real good guy and enjoyable to work with. I just got to ask you about him.
Yeah, he's very intense. He would, if I had had any sort of a fight scene with him, he would have beat the shit out of me, and he would have had no problem doing it. In the first movie, Armand Asante beat the shit out of me. We had a little physical scene, and he was like, "Hey, is it okay if I push you around?" I said, "Sure." Yeah. So, you know, I'm like 5'9" on a good day, and Armand's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna slap you." This guy really got into it. You know, Pare and I didn't get into it, but we could have. He's very intense, extremely professional. When we were doing squib scenes where people got shot with the squibs, he was telling special effects where to put the squibs. I mean, he's like the quintessential action pro.
Whoa, that's cool. Well, and one more question before I hand it back to Omar. I remember I went to a movie premiere of Psycho 2, and Anthony Perkins was talking, and he says, you know, everybody always asks me about the shower scene in Psycho, and I wasn't there. He says, everyone's yelling at me and telling me how horrific I was. I was on the East Coast, he says. It was another guy, it was a shadow. In this movie, was that really you with the mask on, jumping out of the car, shooting people, or did they ever get somebody else to do it?
I wouldn't have done it if I couldn't wear the mask.
Good. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Oh yeah, man. I do anything they ask me to do. I'm like, sure. How hard could it be?
Yeah.
And then I figure it out. From running in high heels in Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies to chopping down real doors with a fireman's axe in Ditch Day Massacre, which thanks for mentioning that movie. Yeah, I'm down for it. I'll do it.
I tell you, when Lynn Lowry died in that movie, my heart was broken. But
I know.
I know.
Like they could have had a thing.
I know.
And so I got to tell you, Chris, you'll appreciate this, and maybe this will make people actually watch Ditch Day Massacre for this. So there's a kissing scene in there, and so Joe Hendrick, our director, he was like, "I want you to kiss Lynn while she's dead, but I don't know if she'll do it." So Lynn was getting her makeup done, so I went to the makeup chair, and she's very regal, you know, she's very, very, very. Hello, I'm Lynn Lowry, and so the chair is turned away, and I said, "Lynn, Joe wants me to kiss you while you're dead. Can I?" And she wheels around the makeup chair and she says, "Only if it's French."
Oh, whoa. I tell you, you know, that story alone. Oh, that's great. I'm so jealous. I don't know, but I'm going to rewatch that movie, and I'm going to keep that in mind this time and during that scene, because it was heartbreaking, but at least I know if she was French kissing you, okay, I could sort of take that. But
totally. And even with her tongue completely immobile, it's really good.
Oh, it's like pizza, cold and soggy or wet and juicy. It's still good. It's still
totally
good. Yeah. Bill, thank you so much. I'm going to pass you on to my buddy Omar now.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, Bill. It's a pleasure to finally get to speak with you. I've shared so many press releases for your movies over the years. It's good to actually see your face on camera and get to say hello.
Thank you, Omar. And you know, I especially thank you for that with the press releases, because you know how the quality of indies is. It's variable. To be kind, you know, it's up and down. We do the best we can, and there are occasions where when a press release goes out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to promote the movie, and I really like the people who are in it, but I know the movie's not good. But Painkiller, I felt okay about promoting because it came from a real place, because Tom Parnell, our executive producer, his son actually, you know, died of this. He was 21 years old, and he died of accidental opioid overdose. So that it came from a place of real pain, and everybody put their heart into it because of what Tom went through.
Yeah, I was just about to ask how you got into this role and why you decided to do this movie.
Mark Savage asked me to do it, so that would have been a yes anyway. But then Tom, who I knew from Stress to Kill, he was in that too. When I found out the story behind it about Tom's son, I was really scared actually, because I said, Mark, I'm the horror guy. I eat the scenery sometimes. So I don't know if I can do what you really need me to do. And Mark said, oh no, you totally can. And I'm still not sure about the performance. I just wanted to honor and respect Tom. But I did it for Mark and for Tom because they asked me to, although I said, you should get somebody else. I think you could get a better actor to do this. They asked me and I did my best.
Well, you did a great job in the movie, but it is you're in tons of horror. You've said it right now, and we've said it before. But how do you feel about horror now? It seems more and more being used in a movie like this to get a message across. I mean, does that make you want to do a movie even more, or do you love being part of horror even more because of these kind of movies?
Yes, because chopping up copulating teenagers and licking women's faces, there's a wall you hit there. There's a wall. And you're like, okay, we've done that. So what are we going to do now? So I love it when horror is tied to something that people can really relate to in their everyday life. The original Cabin in the Woods movies, Evil Dead. Like that was back in the day when a lot of people went camping and it was fucking scary to think that you could be in this cabin and this weird shit could start happening. So yeah, I love that this movie is tied to something real. I wish it had been bloodier and more explicitly violent. And there were discussions about that, but they wanted to make it palpable to people who might not really be into gory horror, who might be into the message as well. So we split the difference.
Yeah, you kind of really stuck to the gun and just the use of that for the most part. I mean, was that just easier to use? I mean, how was it doing a lot of those scenes where it's just gun, and that's it?
Yeah, I would have liked to have skinned someone, perhaps, or made them eat portions of their own body, stuff like that, But yeah, the gun was cool, and because it all led up to the line. Why do you always shoot him 6 times? Because that's all the bullets the gun holds. And that's a great line.
Yeah, that was a good one, and I liked. I'm trying not to give it away, but you did have to reload again towards the end, and that was also fun. You're just like, I'm just going to keep giving it to him. That's it.
There was a scene at the end where I got to stick a guy's head under the water repeatedly through a GoPro. He's got a GoPro attached. He was really struggling. We were really on the edge of him saying, this is too much. But he was a real pro and he was going for it. But that scene was pretty realistic. So I hate to say that was fun, but it was.
Do you like still getting physical in all these roles?
Absolutely. Like if I can't do something, I'm really into body horror because I think the body is a horror. We're trapped in it from the minute we're born and we can't get out of here. Like I can't relate to you in any way other than in this thing, in this skeleton. I can feel it right underneath here. So there's a lot of horror in the body and I love to bring physicality to horror, and I hate it when I'm not able to do it. Anything that involves sweat or the body or extreme movement. I like creeping, crawling things, any kind of fight scene or movement. Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking back to a movie you did recently with Kane. I think good, evil, something. I can't remember the name. Did you go again? I don't remember if you went agast him in the movie. Did you fight him at all in that movie?
I did.
Okay. How was that?
I had to look like I was winning. So Kane was like, I'm going to take care of you. and he did. The good guys can always do that. They can always make it look like, you know what you're doing, which makes it more fun.
I've had the pleasure to meet him. He's such an awesome guy. So I can just imagine doing a scene like that with him.
Completely straight face. Like he never, So after one of the takes, he was like, oh, fuck. They were like, what? He said, I think Bill fucked up my arm. I was like, I did not. Yeah, that's Kane. He was like, I'm messing with you.
Awesome. I have to ask, I was looking at IMDb before this. I have to ask, I noticed, you've obviously done a ton of movies, but you haven't done a lot of writing or directing. Is that on purpose, or that you're saving for a later time, or?
Well, I don't know if I could do it. I mean, everybody says they could direct, but I've watched hundreds of these guys, a couple hundred, and girls, and it's tough. It's really tough. Only now have I gotten to the point where I think, all right, maybe if I had a really good cinematographer, I could do something. But it's a big assumption to say I could direct because I watched directing. So it's a tough gig. When when you're the director, everybody has a question that only you can answer. And so you have no rest and no, it's like going to war. You just have to, it takes a lot of preparation.
Yeah, it just piqued my curiosity because I see so many actors who have done seemingly a lot of, I mean, you've done dozens and dozens of movies, and people that don't even have done as many movies as you, but I see them trying to do either the writing part or trying to do the directing part. And then I was shocked to just see that you just passed on. I mean, obviously your choice and so forth, but.
Well, I've seen directors get in fights with cinematographers more than once.
Wow.
So I'd want to make sure, in fact, I've two separate times, I've seen cinematographers say, you want to shoot it with this setup? Shoot it your effing self and walk away from the camera. Twice. Wow. And the other times we're pushing, shoving, shouting, walking off the set. So you got to be really sure that you have a cinematographer you're very simpatico with. So yeah, maybe when I meet that person, we could do something together.
Awesome. Well, I know Ken has a dozen questions for you, but I just have to say I love the skeleton behind you.
Hey, thanks. That's Father Time. He reminds us that time is fleeting.
And I just wanted to
he's got a skeleton
point out that my friend here, Dexter, would like to say hello.
Awesome. Hey, Dexter, what's up?
He usually joins the show with us, but since we were just doing a quick interview, I let him kind of take some time back there. But he definitely says hello, and he's definitely a fan.
Very nice. And Dex, we're all headed for him, aren't we?
Yes, we are. All right, and with that, thank you, and I'll turn it to Ken.
Hey, thanks.
Bill, my face hurts because I'm laughing so much right now, and everybody in the chat room loves you right now. Like, they think that you're one of the best interviews that we've had. I do have a couple questions from the chat room, which I'll get to later, but I want to stay on that subject with Father Time. So obviously, Father Time is undefeated, and you have a huge amount of movies that you've done. What is the end for you?
You mean life?
No, like what are you waiting to? Are you going to retire? Are you going to keep going? When are you going to call it? Not that we want you to. I'm just like, you have so many movies. In yours.
I hope to die working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really love to die working. I don't ever want to stop because I love what I do. That's the way it is when you love what you do. To die in a scene would be great, but it would probably be out of focus and they couldn't use it. I was hung in an attic of an apartment building in Burbank in 2011, now maybe 2010. And it was a very small horror movie. And so they were doing this hanging scene. So I'm up there, I think with blood all over me in my underwear. And I'm this weird dude who's hung himself. And so they had the hanging rig set up where you lean down to put pressure on it so it'll look taut. So I really wanted it to look good. So I scrunched down too much and I passed out. And, before I passed out, I was swinging back and forth. And the last thing I thought before I passed out was, this looks really good. And so then I wake up and they're fanning me and they're over me and saying, Bill, slapping my face. And they said, what happened? You passed out. I said, did you get it? What did they say? No, it was out of focus. I died. I came close to dying and you didn't get it. So if I do die on set, there'll be a boom in the shot.
Well, listen, we don't want that. I had like a kind of a follow-up to it because the reason why I asked that is your physical condition, man. You are ripped, dude. You talk about your diet and your work ethic because, man, you are in tremendous shape. And that's the reason why I asked, because you do all these physical roles. I mean, even with Painkiller, and you're, as Chris mentioned, you're running around, you're doing the stunts and stuff like that. Like, talk about your regiment there, because it's amazing.
Kale, water, broccoli, spinach, fish, maybe a little grilled chicken, a lot of whey protein.
Really?
Nazi for sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Love my sleep.
Yeah.
And then, the usual things that old guys do, like, oh, fuck, I really need to do 100 push-ups. And if I don't do it at my age, I'm going to start losing it tomorrow. So you get your ass on the floor, you do the push-ups, and then you can have coffee.
So you do 100 push-ups a day?
That's in the morning. I do more later on. Anytime I think the word push-up, I say, okay, drop and do 33. You can do 33. You can do 33. And then usually I'll go, okay, just do 40. I don't want to do 40. Shit. Okay, I'll do 40. Like, I force myself to do these things because as an actor, you go long periods where you're not working.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you get a scene like, where they want you to do something that's very physical, you don't have time to like whip yourself into shape. You have to just be ready. And I feel good when I'm in good shape too. So
no, I'm just on this new diet and everything. I'm trying to lose weight too. And I've been blessed to be pretty thin, but I totally get it. I used to do 100 a day too, just try to get them in there, at least knock it off. But the reason why I asked is in Painkiller, it is a physical role, and you're out there kicking ass. So in Painkiller, was there any, did you get hurt at all? Did you have any scenes that maybe didn't go right, or anything you want to talk about on set that we just didn't see during the movie that you really liked a lot behind the scenes?
There was a fight scene with an intruder.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I messed up I always miss cues. This scar and this scar, probably this one, are all for missing cues.
Uh-huh.
And I think I missed a cue in that fight. I think I remember like having a twisted something or other, but I don't remember it well enough to be specific. So it must not have been too bad, huh?
Wow.
I got a bum leg from stunt jump in Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies, where we're losing the leg. We don't have a stunt pad. Bill, can you just do it? Like, yes, okay, I'll just crunch.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the business. That's and all an actor has is their body.
Yeah.
And my face is beat to hell. When I was 17, my face looked like this. So my body's got some scars and marks too, but it's all in the service of doing something I love. It's okay.
Well, we were blessed to a few, I think last year sometime, we spoke to Chad Farron, who directed The Chair, and I know you
love Chad.
We absolutely loved that movie. I mean, Roddy Piper, his sinister character in there, and you were the warden, and I mean, your character was bananas as well. But you got to work with all these great people, from the Rob Zombie film, Three from Hell, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis with the Final Girls, I think it was, and I mean, you've had all these great experiences. Is there anybody that you just really had a great time working with, and then anybody that you want to work with in the future?
The bigger they are, the nicer they are. I'll tell you that.
Really?
I pushed Jim Carrey down onto the dolly tracks, and the whole set went, oh, and it was like, oops, you're headed home. And Jim got up and he said, it was my fault. And he winked at me. I was like, yes. Adrienne Barbeau. He said, I was putting the barbed wire around her neck. And I was like, she said, is this okay? She said, no, I want it tighter. So everybody who is of any stature who I've worked with is like Hugh Jackman. We're doing a turnaround and he's not even in the shot. It's just my side of the conversation. They say, Hugh, you can go back to your trailer. He says, no, I'll stay here and I'll feed Bill lines. And I was like, you're Hugh Jackman. You don't have to do this. And he said, would you do it for me? I said, yeah. He said, okay, then we'll do the scene. I'm just continually impressed by the people who are bitches are the people who are not of any stature. Mm-hmm. The meanest people you'll ever meet are the people who want to be something they're not. Mm-hmm. They're really mean. But the people who already are, they can afford to be nice, and usually they are. The people I'd like to work with, again, all of the above mentioned, and Jamie Lee Curtis. I really want to be directed by her again. We did Scream Queens, and I just loved the way she directed, worked. I loved everything about it, and I would love to have her behind the lens for something that I was doing again.
I'm sorry, I called it Scream Queens. I'm sorry, I called it Final Girls, but it was Scream Queens. My fault. So I got a couple questions just for two people from the chat room here. Luna Redcoat, who's a really good supporter of our show, she's asking, what movie made you go down the horror path?
A movie called Dismal, like 2007 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I had been doing stage for 14 years. First 14 years of my life was touring and stage. I did a lot of historical characters. I did Mark Twain, JFK, Jesus of Nazareth. I like to do historical people in their own words. And then by mistake, I ended up playing General Sherman on this docudrama for the History Channel. Complete fluke. I just applied on a whim. I'd never done a film. I didn't even know not to look at the camera. So I did that. Anyway, so right after that, I started getting horror roles because I guess Sherman looked like a badass and, you know, my face is my face. And so I played this park ranger cannibal in a movie called Dismal. And that's the first time that I ever realized that if the actor in the scene with you, when you're creeping them out, is making too much noise, you know, if they're like, and you know there's not going to be ADR, I have to shut them up so I can do my lines. And I realized that if I just go, shh, quiet now, that they would be quiet. So I learned a lot of stuff doing that. And it's the first time I ever licked a girl's face.
Listen, oh, I'm dying here, man. My face is hurting. You're making me laugh.
Lick up, lick right along the jawline, pull the hair out of the way, and get a clean, straight up. So you don't mess up her makeup. That could be repaired. But you want to lick flat with the tongue. Lay the tongue right against it. You can feel this with your tongue. You're doing it right. And then don't jerk your head. Just go, and then let it come off right here before it gets to her eye. And you'll get a perfect lick every time.
We're getting makeout notes from Bill Oberst on where the scary things are.
She will scream like a mother too.
I'm wild. I got one more question from the chat room here. John Grant, all the way from the UK across the water, he's asking you, out of the big three of the horror franchises being Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, which one do you prefer?
Nightmare, because it comes from a real place. You know, it was based on a real story of a Korean vet who came back and told his parents, don't let me go to sleep, I'll die. And he went to sleep and did. So the fact that it comes from real life and the fact that it happens in a dream world, I really was into all of that. It scared the shit out of me.
Wow. I didn't know that. I don't know if you guys knew that, Chris and HorrO, but that I didn't know it came from. So we're not only learning how to make out with chicks, but we're also learning about where horror movies come from. And with Bill, I'm going to wrap.
Only certain types of chicks.
Chris will take what he can get. Listen, I'm going to give you the opportunity to just talk about Painkiller. I think it was released today, right? I think it was released today. Painkiller. Where we can find it, and what are you working on? What's in the pipeline for you?
The movie's out from Cinedigm, and it's on demand, digital DVD. I know it's on Apple TV. So yeah, check it out and enjoy it. The next things that I'm doing, I signed to play Hitler in Romania in a straight World War II drama called The Message. And I'm looking forward to that, but that probably won't be till next spring. I'm working on getting my Amazon products up for sale. This is the Bill Oberst Jr. severed ear. It's actually like my ear.
Wow.
The blade severed ear. And some other products that I'm putting up on Amazon. And I'm going to try to get that done before I go to Mexico to shoot a movie called Dead Iris. So I did this movie called Dis with the director Adrian Corona. It's very extreme. It's very brutal. It's offensive. And it's his personal vision of hell. So Adrian's very into Mexican mythology. So the next film is about the Aztec sweat lodge culture. and the belief that in the sweat lodge, you could contact people who were dead. It could be a portal. And so it's called Dead Iris. And I'm this American expat, totally Klaus Kinski, wild, who's going down to Mexico, and he's totally into sweat lodge culture. And he's a shaman. And this guy and a girl come, and they want to contact the girl's sister who's died. So he says, I can do that. And we go into the sweat lodge, and he contacts the dead girl, but it's not good.
Bill, I got to reach back out to your contact here because we got to get that on this show. I want to see that movie. We got to get you back on the show, man. Listen, I truly appreciate you on the show. Definitely one of my favorite interviews. I'm sure the other guys can vouch for that. The chat room all is just over the moon. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on Where the Scary Things Are tonight. Till next time, just keep it scary. We love watching you, man. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you, man. And I want to thank you and the people who are watching for supporting indie horror.
Yep.
No, it's not all great, but our heart's in it. And so thank you for supporting us.
All right, Bill, have yourself a good night. Thank you so much. Keep it scary.
You too. Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was Bill Oberst. What an excellent interview. That guy was awesome. And I'm just blown away. That was a cool interview. So we're going to wrap up. Sorry, go ahead, HorrO.
Oh, he's awesome. But we need to hang out with him more often.
I know Chris was taking notes there on how to make out with chicks.
Yeah, I might try that tonight. Let you guys know how it is. And I know I invited you guys over for pizza or Chinese food tomorrow. Bring him with you.
I would hang out with Bill in a heartbeat, man.
Absolutely. He's a guy you can hang with.
Well, listen, it's a short show for us this week. We're missing Muse. Muse has got some stuff going on at home, so she couldn't make the show, but she is okay. We'll see her next week. We got a really, really cool show next week, and possibly the next 3 weeks if everything works out all right. But yeah, we are very grateful for everybody. We had a really good month as far as listens go. Please follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, follow our individual accounts. We love you guys. We want to hear from you, and we want to support all indie film, as Bill mentioned before. So in closing, Chris, you got anything for us?
No, I'm very, very happy to be here and to be able to talk to Bill Oberst. We didn't even mention his fight with Bigfoot in a recent movie. That's how compact that interview was. No, just look forward to seeing you guys and look forward to seeing Muse back very soon.
Yeah. How about you, HorrO?
Oh, I just want to echo Bill. Support indie horror. He's in, like I said, it's no joke. He's literally in so many movies that I've put out press releases over the years. It's ridiculous. I'm very thankful to finally get to talk with him, and he's such a supporter of it. And like he says, not all of it is good. Not everybody's gonna like it, but sometimes you find gems. Certain people find different things they like. We're not here to say everybody has to like every movie that we're talking about. We try to bring you as many as we can to, share with you guys. And sometimes you guys are going to like it. Sometimes you're not, but that's just the way it is. Like I said, it all comes down to love horror, love the horror community. We can agree to disagree on the movies, but as long as we stay together at the end, that's all that matters. And spread the horror.
Amen to that. Well, listen, listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. And just a big thank you to Bill. Check out the movie Painkiller. It's a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me of like The Punisher. And Chris, you had a good comparison as far as Death Wish goes. I didn't even think about that. That's an excellent comparison. But yes, an awesome movie. And Bill is just the man. I'm just blown away that he came on the show. Anyway, till next week, my friends, keep it scary.